Mayor Roland Dykes.
Present.
Vice Mayor Connie Ball.
Here.
Alderman Mike Hansel.
Here.
Alderwoman Luana Ottinger.
Here.
Alderman Randy Reagan.
Here.
Alderman Steve Smith.
Here.
City Attorney Terry Hurst.
Here.
City Administrator James Fincham.
Here. Thank you, Tina. A copy of the minutes been placed in your package. If you've had a chance to take a look at those, we'll entertain a motion to accept those minutes as presented.
I make a motion to accept.
Second.
We have a motion then to approve the minutes as presented. It's been properly seconded. Please signify your acceptance by the normal sign of aye.
Aye.
And nays like sign. Hearing none, motion carries. Item 4, proclamations and a recognition of citizens by the mayor. At this point, I do not have any. Would any of the aldermen have anything? Okay. Item 5 is our communications from City Administrator, Mr. James Fincham.
Thank you, Mayor. The only thing I have is an update on our situation with animal control. And what I have to report is that progress is moving along on the other building, which belongs to Old Smoky, down on Woodlawn, 2 doors down from the current building that we are using. And what Old Smoky proposed and we accepted was, instead of spending a large amount of money to redo the roof on the building that we currently occupy, they are remodeling the inside of this building. And it's going to be cheaper for them to do that than to put a roof on the other building. So we're going to be, as soon as that renovation is done, we'll be moving the operations into that building temporarily. The long-term solution, of course, is to build a new animal control building. And our plan, as you all know, is to do that in the old industrial park down on Coke Boulevard. We intend to purchase 6 acres from the county down there in the old, the old farm that's part of the old industrial park. And 1 acre is for the animal control building, and then 5 acres for a new street garage at some point. But our priority right now is to get the dog pound built. And so we have already spoken with the county, had a couple of meetings with them, and we are currently in the process. You got to go through committees and jump through a lot of hoops over there to get something in front of the entire CLV. So we have begun that process, and so as soon as we can resolve that, then we will be getting with the architect. Our intent is to build another building similar to the original animal shelter building that was built back in the 90s out at the old location where the Friends of the Animal Shelter still have, the Humane Society still has their facility. We intend to build something that's very similar to that down there. And so I have some more news on animal control, but I'm just got preliminary news about it today, and I don't want to get into it at this point till I have some confirmation on it. But I may have some good news about someone that wanted to help with this project, and so we'll see where that goes. I don't want to report on something that I don't have anything in my hand on confirming it. So we may have some good news on that front coming up maybe at the next meeting. But I just wanted to bring you guys up to speed on where we are, because I know that there's a lot of concern about the animals, about the building. I've had questions about, why, when they're going to do the roof, what we're going to do. And so we're not going to redo the roof. We're redoing another building. They are. We aren't. Old Smoky is. They're footing the bill. And Tina and I went down today and inspected it, and they're coming along pretty good on it. Looks good on the inside, but it's still got a ways to go to get all the renovations inside finalized. So,
Which building is it?
it's on Woodlawn. It's right behind the flower shop. You know where Wilma's Florist is?
The old Butcher and Barker place.
Right, it's right behind it. And it's actually a two-story building. I'm curious about the second floor of it. Tina and I kind of looked around and see if we could poke our nose upstairs, but we didn't try to see if we could utilize that space maybe somehow. But we were curious. Lisa's been keeping us informed on it, but we hadn't actually went down and personally inspected it until today. And we wanted to go down and just take a look at it ourselves to see how it was going. So it looks good. But it's still just a temporary fix. It's really not large enough. It doesn't have dedicated runs in it like what a true animal control building should have. You have to have, the building has got to be designed in a way to house animals. You got to have the runs, you got to have the drains, you got to have all these things that have to be in place, and there's no way to do any of that down there. And so you got to keep them in cages, you don't have drains, and it's just any way you go, it's just a temporary fix. But I just want to bring y'all up to date on it so that if people, I know you all get questions about it just like I do, and to let the public be aware of where we are on that we aren't ignoring it, we are dealing with it, we are trying to move forward with it, and hopefully my goal is to break ground on it in the spring, and hopefully it'll only take a few, maybe 3-4 months to build it. So.
Do we own that building? Or we just?
No.
Okay.
Yeah, we sold our building. We sold it to Old Smoky, and they were going to let us stay in it, and they were going to renovate it. But the renovation cost got so high, it got cheaper to renovate a separate building and move us into it. So that's what we're doing right now.
Do we know what Old Smoky's plans are, what kind of timeline they have on fixing that building?
We do not.
To make it look better?
They originally, they were going to, when they first made the offer, when they wanted to buy it, and they made the offer to put a new roof on it, because we were going to put a new roof on it. And it was pretty expensive. And they offered to put a roof on it if we'd sell it to them. And so we sold it to them. Then when they got to seeing what it was going to cost to put the roof on, they decided that it was in their best interest to just tear it down. So, and I get that, you don't want to spend $80,000 or $90,000 putting a roof on it you're going to tear down. So that's when we agreed to go into this other facility, and then they started doing just changing up the inside, putting in new walls and redoing the floors and that kind of stuff. This one's got a good roof on it. It don't have roof issues. And so, but no, we don't. We did own it, but we sold it to them. Now, their plans originally was to refurbish it, but now their plan is to tear it down and build something new. And I don't know what that is. Gary and I actually had a conversation last week about the need to get all these players together. The lady that bought the First Baptist Church, the folks that bought the Newport Hardware, Old Smoky's representative, and possibly another new investor that's looking at downtown, and trying to help them do whatever we can do to grease the wheels for them to help them move forward. So, because right now they've got a lot of ideas. The only one that's really laid a concept out there is the folks that bought the hardware building. They've got pictures out on the wall right now. You can go down there and look at some of their concepts of what their vision is for that building. And right now it's like 4 different businesses. The vape shop's already there, and then the coffee shop, the axe throwing, and then a pub or a sports bar or something of that nature in there. So that's actually going to be 4 businesses in that one, which it's a big building, and it's 3 stories high. So it's actually four businesses that they're looking at having in there. So that's going to be a great addition.
It is.
To downtown.
Their drawings look really, really nice.
Yes, they do. And then also the lady that bought the church, she has some concept ideas, but they're kind of fluid. Like she keeps looking at maybe buying another piece of property and then changing her idea, and so she's not set in stone. on exactly what she's going to do. She's got an idea of what all she wants to do. She just don't have a concrete plan on what goes where. And then Old Smoky's kind of the same way. You know, their goal has, from the beginning, has been to have a combination. And that's kind of the way I understand it with the lady that bought the church and possibly these new investors that are looking down there, is a combination of housing overhead and retail and restaurant space on the ground level. And so they go hand in hand. If you can get the restaurants and the specialty shops and those kinds of things in play, then folks are interested in living overhead and being able to walk to all these venues, walk over here and eat, or walk over there and eat, or go over here and and do the different activities that there would be to do downtown that you would be able to walk and do. Claire Crouch uses the word gentrification, and and that's true. That is terminology that they use about when you refurbish old portions of town and have a combination of housing and retail and restaurants. That is a term that is used for that. But she's the only person around here I've read articles and stuff about it, but she's the first person around here I've heard use that term when I was talking about what we were trying to do.
That term, though, has a negative connotation.
It can, yeah, because a lot of times gentrification means that you've priced out the locals.
Yes.
That the success of the area has driven up the prices to the point that locals can't afford to live there. Yeah, I think that's what you were getting at.
Yeah, really.
But it just cracked me up that she used that word. I never thought I'd see that word associated
in Newport,
with downtown Newport. Gentrification. So, but I don't want to run anybody out of the market, but I would love to see some major development downtown.
Yeah.
That's all we got.
Okay.
If there are no more questions. Okay, thank you.
Thank you, James. All right, item 6 is appointment of boards, commissions, and committees. And item A is discussion of reappointment to the Police Civil Service Board, Dean Ball. This is a civil service appointment, doesn't require a vote. Is there any discussion? We need a motion to approve that. Okay.
Yes, I think that's a paid position, so we need a motion and a vote on that matter.
Correct.
I'll make a motion to reappoint Mr. Dean Ball.
I'll second.
Okay, we do have a motion on the board then to reappoint Mr. Dean Ball to the Police Civil Service Board. It's been properly seconded. Please signify your acceptance by aye. Aye. And nays, like sign.
I think, which I mean, it's okay, it doesn't matter, but I think over here, I just now glanced at it, it says that position's appointed by the Civil Service Board, so it didn't require a vote, but that's okay, you just reinforced it.
Okay.
He's double. He can't get out of it.
I was trying to be sure. We'll check with our attorney here. So.
Well, I should have been ahead of the game on that.
All right. No harm done. Reports from committees, members of council, and other officers. Anyone here have anything to report? Mr. Carver, you have nothing today?
No, nothing today, Mayor.
And we move on to old business and unfinished business. Item A is consideration of the second reading of ordinance number 2022-18, budget amendment for Newport Grammar School.
And Mayor, that's ordinance number 2022-18, an ordinance of amending the annual operating budget and capital program of the city of Newport, Tennessee, fiscal year 2022-2023 for Newport Grammar School.
Okay. You've heard the reading of the ordinance. What's the board's pleasure?
Motion to approve.
Second.
Okay, we have a motion on the board to approve consideration of second reading of ordinance number 2022-18, budget amendment for Newport Grammar School, has been properly seconded. We need a roll call. Ms. Tina?
Alderman Mike Hansel,
Yes.
Alderwoman Ottinger,
Yes.
Alderman Randy Reagan,
Yes.
Alderman Steve Smith,
Yes.
Vice Mayor Connie Ball.
Yes.
Thank you, motion carries. Item B is consideration of second reading of ordinance number 2022-19, amending the personnel policy for the city of Newport.
Mayor, that's ordinance number 2022-19, an ordinance to amend the City of Newport Municipal Code, Title 4, Municipal Personnel, Chapter 7, Employee Benefits, Section 723, Retirement System.
And just for the record, this is where we are changing the personnel policy to allow a new employee who has been hired that worked prior to being hired here under another entity that participated in the Tennessee Consolidated Retirement, and to allow them to have an unbroken service record instead of having to wait the normal 6-month probationary period before they went under TCRS. And this allows them not to have 6 months of broken time. And that's it in a nutshell.
Are there questions? Okay, then we need a motion to approve.
Motion to approve.
Second.
And we have a motion on the board then to approve consideration of second reading of ordinance number 2022-19, amending the personnel policy for the city of Newport. Has been properly seconded. We need a roll call. Ms. Tina?
Alderman Mike Hansel,
Yes.
Alderwoman Luana Ottinger,
Yes.
Alderman Randy Reagan,
Yes.
Alderman Steve Smith,
Yes.
Vice Mayor Connie Ball.
Yes.
Motion carried. New business. Item A, discussion of new street in the industrial park.
If you guys want to reference the visual material in the packet for any reason, there's a set of architecture or engineer drawings and then just a visual map print off where I drew the new road in. Not very, doesn't look great, but that's what you get on public salary. You don't get the good stuff. Old Smoky, and I talked to them about the intent because when Ben looked at it, and he had a gentleman from TDOT that he trusts look at the plans, and they asked why they wouldn't just run off of Cope and come straight in to the south of Oliver Cromwell, straight into that cul-de-sac, because they own, Newport Utilities owns the building, and it'd be cool if I had the clicker, I should have thought of that. But Newport Utilities owns one of these buildings. It's the one closest to the cul-de-sac, the bigger one closest to the cul-de-sac, but they're renting to own to Old Smoky. So at some point, and they're trying to acquire the one at the back of the cul-de-sac. So at some point, they'll have all those buildings for their operation. They need to fence it in for food grade purposes. And so it's cost effective if they fence all three of those buildings in, close down Oliver Cromwell, construct the new road on the backside, and they plan, Ben, because they were asking about coming off Cope, they plan to build a new building between, the one at the bottom of the page is the spec building that they purchased, and the other one is the La Sega building. So they plan at some point to build another warehouse in between the two, and that's why they don't want to run the road through there. So now that you have all that knowledge, they would like to, they want to move forward thinking they can build this, and then we will accept it as a street, but we'll close Oliver Cromwell. So it's a one-to-one trade-off. It wouldn't be, we wouldn't need to necessarily add more money into the paving or road maintenance budget because it's a one-to-one. So if you want staff recommendation, they're going to build it to spec, and then it doesn't cost us a thing until we have to go patch a pothole or the only thing I can think of off the top of my head. But then Planning Commission still got to approve the plans. We'll have to inspect it. All that stuff will have to be done before there will be an ordinance to vote to take it into the city, and also one to close Oliver Cromwell, which all have to go through the Planning Commission as well. So this is a month's process, but I just want sort of a vote of confidence from you all if this is something you're interested in, and if not, I can go back and tell them that that's not going to fly with the city of Newport, and they can drop their plans. But for now, this is where we're at. We've got some preliminary drawings, they'll have to go through planning commission. Then, once we do that, we'll have the construction, then we'll close Cromwell, and then accept whatever the new street is. I would imagine we won't rename it. Cromwell was, the owner of the, so we'll probably lose Oliver Cromwell as a street in Newport. And a moment of silence for that.
And all this would have to come back to you guys. To be approved before that it would actually take place. Like he said, this is just really a vote of confidence to show that we're in support of it so they can move forward, because it's an expensive process.
Yeah, it's pretty swampy on the backside, so there'll have to be some drainage things they'll have to address and build up. So it's not just throwing down asphalt. They'll actually have to do a little bit of, it'll be to standard road, but they'll have to do some work on it, and they're willing to. It just...
And we'll actually be coming out ahead, because instead of an old road that's worn and going to be in need of work in the next few years, we'll be swapping it for a new construction road that's probably not going to need anything for many years. So it's really in our best interest in the long run, because we're swapping an old road for a new road. So.
And it's going to meet our specifications that is required for us to take it into the city.
Yes, sir.
If it doesn't, we won't take it.
Right. Yeah, if after Ben and I inspect it, if we don't feel it's up to par, we would not recommend, even if they ask to do it. I don't even think we'd even put the ordinance on we wouldn't even put it on the agenda, so.
And Old Smoky is going to take care of all the expense.
Up front, but like once they turn it over to us, then it's ours.
Right.
Yeah, but no, they'll build it to our spec, all their money up front. Yes,
We
ma'am.
need a motion, Mayor.
But being on the planning commission, I feel if I'm like everyone else looking at this schematic, it would be easier to make a decision if we had something a little more blown up, so we could actually see where. And when we get for real about it, this is preliminary, because I've had to ask them to make a couple of changes on it anyway. Okay.
This is just saying we're open to the idea.
Yeah.
That's all we're saying right here.
Yeah,
We're not saying we approve this, we're good, we're good with anything other than we are open to doing this if it's done right.
Yeah, I'll get some full-size plans. Full-size will go to the planning commission, and if this council would like those two, we'll roll them out that night whenever we make the next decision on it.
Would someone like to state the motion then?
I'll state the motion.
Okay.
I'm not sure we need a motion, do we, James, at this point?
Oh, yeah, I'm calling it a vote of
I think what
confidence,
we
but
can say
you don't have to literally take a
We're
vote.
calling it a vote of confidence, but that's just everybody saying, yeah, we're good with it.
So far, we don't have any opposition.
Yeah, if anybody does, or you got questions, ask them now, and if I don't have the answer, I'll get it to you, but as long as
We don't need any kind of binding anything.
Yeah.
It's just us giving them our word that we're open to this, if it's done the right way.
Sounds like the council doesn't have an issue.
Yeah, because if people say we don't want to do this, then we just tell them there's no support to do it, and that's the end of it.
Okay. Sounds like you have a vote of confidence.
All right. I will bring back the next bit of information. Planning Commission will see it in 2 weeks, and then if you want,
Okay, thank you, Gary. Item B is consideration of Newport Police Department to apply for the annual Tennessee Highway Safety Office High Visibility Grant.
Hello, everybody. This grant is just basically what we get every year. It's a high visibility grant that's used for paying overtime and using some traffic enforcement issues. And it comes from the state of Tennessee at no cost to the city of Newport.
Okay, you've heard what's the board's pleasure?
Motion to approve.
I'll second.
Okay, have a motion to approve the consideration of Newport Police Department to apply for the annual Tennessee Highway Safety Office High Visibility Grant. It's been properly seconded. Please signify your acceptance by the normal sign of aye. Aye. And nays, like sign. Hearing none, motion carries. Thank you, Scott. Consideration of Newport Fire Department to apply for the Tennessee Department of Forestry Grant.
Good evening, guys. Hey, this is kind of a grant that we had done in April of last year. But working with Cliff and stuff, he allowed me to do an extension on it to make it a little later, because our needs have kind of changed, because now we've got 90 acres more than what we had, so we might need to redo that. So we've already been approved for it before in May, and this is just an extension on the amount of money that we get to expend, to get to spend it. And this is some stuff that Chief Reagan had worked with on our wildfire protection plan for our community after the Gatlinburg wildland fires and some different things. Then the federal government started opening up some of this money. So it's a 100% matching grant. We pay for it, and then we send the stuff in and they reimburse us. So, but it's for $20,000.
$20,000. Okay, you've heard the presentation. You also have some information in your booklet. What's the board's pleasure?
I'll make the motion.
Second.
Okay, we have a motion to approve for consideration of Newport Fire Department to apply for the Tennessee Department of Forestry grant. It has been properly seconded. Please signify your acceptance by the normal sign of aye.
Aye.
And nays like sign. Hearing none, motion carries.
All right, thank you.
Thank you, Jim. Item D is discussion of roadblock policy.
Well, Mayor, you know, at the last meeting, we had a lady to approach us and ask about the possibility of waiving the requirement for roadblocks that you have to be a 501c3 entity or associated with one working under their umbrella. And so we were asked to put that on the agenda for this meeting, and we did. We also researched it since that time. We've spoken with the city attorney. We've looked at options, and we really can't do it. We really can't waive that requirement. Even though she's got a very worthy cause, wanting to help the cats, wanting to feed the cats, certainly support the intent of what she's wanting to do, but we just can't alter the policy. We have to stick with the requirement that it be a 501c3. And so I hate that. I wish that we could have tried to make that work, but they're just, in all the consultation that we've done, the answer's been the same across the board. We can't do it. And I'm sorry that's the situation.
Well, there is a lady that, she's one of my former students back in the day. She runs the New Sentinel paper route, and she stopped me and showed me the bag of cat food in the back of her paper car, I guess you could call it. And she furnishes stainless steel feeding pans, and she feeds them every morning at the end of her paper route. So they're getting that also. I don't know what anybody else has done, but she runs the paper route 7 days a week. So those cats are not. Were you aware of that? No, I don't.
What are you talking about?
Cheryl Ball.
Okay.
Yeah. But I just wanted everybody to be aware that the cats are being fed and watered every day. And I think she does the same thing.
There's several groups of us. Actually, I had told y'all about that garage out at Carson Springs that had all those in them. We've got those picked up. They're going to fix. We're trying to get me home. It's not just that we're trying to feed them. We're trying to stop the problem ahead.
Right. And we understand, like James said, you know.
Has anybody got any suggestions? I mean, a food drive or anything to try to raise some money to... I mean, I'm willing to get her to do the work, like I said. I don't care to do all that. Suggestions.
There's a GoFundMe page on Facebook.
Well, they've got a rescue page set up, so...
Right, okay. Well, maybe that.
I know everybody's just having such a hard time even finding cat food. I don't know if y'all noticed, but Walmart shelves or Dollar Store. I went up to Walmart and got the last 4-pound bags.
Right.
So I'm at a loss. I've got, like I said, I've got 20 at my house. I've got 900 at my daughter's. I got 500 at my mother-in-law's. We're trying to love it.
Yeah, right.
But, and then we picked up 7 at the Carson Springs garage. And when we stand there doing that, this lady and a trailer back in the back. She said, I couldn't believe what was back there. And like I said, we're just trying to stop the problem from getting worse.
That's right. And we appreciate you doing that. And Mayor, that's all I have.
Yeah.
I just wanted to let everybody know that I know they're getting food and water. She said the biggest problem she had, people still on their stainless steel food and water boats. So, but anyway, thank you, James.
Yeah. Well, we certainly think that what you're trying to do is commendable, but unfortunately, as James said, we're not able to amend that policy. I don't know that, I'm not sure that it would be a solution or not if they could partner with an organization that has a 501c3 to do the same thing. I don't know of an organization that would be similar to, but trying to do some of the same things you're doing, but if you know of an organization that has a 501c3, perhaps you can partner with them.
I just thought about going to the schools and asking the principals if I don't know if they'd have to come back to the council or not. It may be if, like, the ROTC, if they come out and help, I'm sure if the ROTC would have one. I mean, just a group like that.
Yeah.
I would like to educate the public, because people don't realize if they dump out 2 female cats, what's going to happen? I mean, I'd like to let them know what's going on. A lot of people just don't understand.
Okay, is there anything else? We'll move on. There's no bids, purchases, and expenses to go over today. Comments from citizens. Would anyone like to be heard? If not, then we'll entertain a motion to adjourn.
So moved.
That was quick. It's the quickest motion I've ever seen.
We're quick.
We